you haven't done so...
All right. I just switched into the Sci-Fi Express lane. It's about to go down. Jeff Carroll here, writer, creator, comic book creator, filmmaker, all that stuff. And today's subject is kind of a combination of all of my writing, books, film, and creating comic books coming together. That's why I kind of like all of this. I'm even getting into game development, so I don't want to leave that out. Fingernails, the board game, back from Kibulan, is definitely a game, and it's fun, okay? So, that said, I make a certain type of movie. My first movie, Holla If I Kill You, was what is considered a B movie. I think at the time that I made it, I may have known what the title, I may have known what B movies were, but I kind of confused them probably. I probably wasn't a good authority on it when I made the movie. After the movie came out, I learned a lot more about what B movies were, right? And the distributor at the time ran a film festival with nothing but B movies in it. Our film ran at the film festival. It was a decent example of what B movies were, and mind you, B movies like run the spectrum, but for the most part, a B movie is a budget movie, and because it's budget, all of the elements that money could fix are on display. So from the beginning, the title is usually not a mainstream worked out banging title, right? Even though the titles are really good, sometimes the titles can be too offensive. They can have, it can corner their market to the point where they don't necessarily appeal to everybody. So from the title, the story is something that may have been fully tweaked, even polished up. There are scenes and things that happen in the character development that are things that we probably say are real, but in a Hollywood film, they would polish all of that out. So the story is like that. We might even call it cheesy, right? So the story, even if you get the best actors in there, the story is something that, it takes major risks. It risks being banned. It risks being corny. It risks being insulting, right? That's B movies. Then you get to the actors, right? The actors are relatively inexperienced. However, if they are experienced, it's like one or two of them, and many of them, are emerging. Many of them are expanding, so they may not have been seen in a role like this before. When I think of that, I'm thinking of like Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun, right? Not Johnny Depp or Keanu Reeves in their horror movies, because Freddy and Jason, not necessarily B movies, right? They're cheesy. Let's say, Friday the 13th, that might have been a B movie, right? A really good B movie, but it might have been a B movie. I wonder, I'm gonna debate that online. So anyway, from the acting, right, to the filming, right? Even the filming is budgeted, because even if you have the best camera person, you might not have the best camera, you might not have the best, you don't have enough time on the set to do like a whole lot of rehearsals. So, mistakes get amplified, right? Because you don't have the ability to cover for them. You don't have the money in editing to make them disappear. Your whole budget of your locations, that's limited. Your budget of your props, that's limited. Your editing, your special effects, that's limited. Wow, so all the way around, right? Even to the artwork, right? You'll be surprised how much Hollywood films, and I'm saying Hollywood, but I'm including Atlanta as well, New York, all the places that make film, right? Let's include the UK and all these other films that are foreign, that are major productions, right? They spend a lot of money even just on marketing and the development of the poster. That's probably, just that alone is more than B-movies' entire budget. When we say B-movies, we say budget movies, right? Probably under $50,000 in this time, right? But there's B-movie makers that are making film for no money. Sometimes the actors don't even get paid. So that's B-movie. And they have a niche audience. Not even a niche audience. When you look at something like Tremors, right? Tremors has a cult following now. But it was, exploited all the elements of B-movies. It may not have been budget, right? But it exploited all of those elements, right? It was cheesy. The acting was, the lines and the stories was really interesting. It had a lot of actors you didn't know. So it was interesting in that regard. But I just think of, this new reboot of Resident Evil. And it reminded me so much of what Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino were trying to do with their double feature, where the girl had the machine gun leg, and Quentin Tarantino made the movie about the car, the guy that was driving the car so fast and killing people with the car. So that, they called theirs Grindhouse. Where does Grindhouse come from? Grindhouse is not a movie style. Budget movies are, B movies are. Grindhouse are the movies that they showed on 42nd Street. They could be A movies, right? But they were discounted because 42nd Street was showing double features. They was running the same movie all day. Wasn't switching up. At the time, there wasn't no multiplexes. So that was really amazing that a theater was showing the same movie all day. Double features, you pay $5, you see two movies, mostly because they worried about you eating the popcorn and all that other stuff. And that's when popcorn started taking off and paying for the theaters. Popcorn probably is 50 cents, but they charge us $15 for a bucket of popcorn. It's crazy, but I buy it when I go. And I get a slushie. Hey, what's going on, But I plan for those calories. I plan for it. Anyway, that's B-movies. Malignant came out this year. I'm putting it in my top 5, right? It may not be the top 1 right now. I like Halle Berry. I like Harder They Fall, and I'm going to go see King Richard. So those are some of my top movies right now. However, Malignant is no joke, and that's full out B-movie. It's full out B-movie. There's no way around it. And it's a high budget B-movie. So when I say it's a B-movie, it uses the elements that B-movies use, okay? So maybe we call it imposter B-movie or whatever, because B-movies have become so unbelievably popular that Hollywood movies or foreign movies all exploit the B-movie energy, B-movie elements. So now my question, after we got our full figure on B-movies, is can the B-movie elements be brought to books? Can they be brought to comic books? Amazing! Oh snap, amazing! Yes, I think so. I think so. Why do I think so? Well, I'm a writer of books. I'm a writer of comic books. And I started to recognize my introductory into writing was through B-movies. I made my first movie 8 years before I wrote my first book. Okay, well, wait a minute. Well, first storybook, first novel. Because I did write 20 Soul Questions at the same time I did Holler If I Kill You. But needless to say, my novel stuff has been influenced by that. Not to mention, my first novel was a novelization of my second movie, Gold Digger Killer. And Gold Digger Killer, while it was embraced by hip hop as a hip hop movie and an urban fiction, which threw it into the urban street lit book category, it was written to be a B movie. And it is a B movie, right? Even though it's urban and all that, from the title, Gold Digger Killer, that's exploitationary. And even though, Hallmark did Secrets of a Gold Digger Killer, yeah, they stole my whole name. It's still a extreme name, right? So from that name, and then of course it's all emerging actors, actresses. Shout out to Shatara Curry and Corinne Green, excellent jobs. But when I wrote the book, the novelization, I was writing it to be very fun, but I was summoning my inner sister soldier. My movie had a message, like Coldest Winter Ever, and I wanted to have that taken serious. Then I made my third movie, The Death Pledge. The Death Pledge came from a short story that I wrote, but even with that short story, it was, like The Interview with a Vampire. It was a serious horror, right? But the film was cheesy. It was supposed to be cheesy. I wrote kill scenes in there that are not even capable of me being able, they're not even physically possible. You know what I'm saying? He slams a guy into a tree and the guy's head pops off. That's not even possible. Maybe if it slammed real hard, but dang, so that's in my movie. However, Baba, the African King, the Killer, in The Death Pledge, it's got 2 comic books. I have a solo comic book written. I'm just trying to find an illustrator that would match the style that I want for Baba. So I haven't done that, but I'm thinking, will the Baba comic book have the energy of the movie? And could I write a Baba novel or a novel with the energy of a B movie? And I'm wondering, is that possible? I'm thinking, yeah, you could write that same story with the same over-the-top lines in it, because the script in a B movie is still budget, right? However, when you take that manuscript to an editor, they may edit out all of the cheesiness. So you got to figure out how to do that. They can't change, and it's not talking about bad grammar. It's just, weird things that jump around and, short, whatever the film is, they may have not had enough time to read through it. So the lines, the dialogue exchange may not be complete. And you take that to an editor, they're gonna be like, fix that, In a comic book, sheesh, I don't know what elements you could have, but I do believe they are. And I do think there are B movie comic books. And I say that because there's so much in the indie world. A lot of this stuff falls as just indie. It just falls. The categories of comic books are not enough to really capture the characteristics of a B movie or a B comic book. In its own container, right? There's its own subcategory, because I've read Jason comic books. I read Friday the 13th. I've read Nightmare on Elm Street comic books. I have a Texas Chainsaw Massacre comic book. I'm reading Rodney Barnes's Army of the Dead. Those are B movies that they made into comic books, but I don't think the comic books have the cheesiness. Now, I do say this. I think with Army of the Dead, Rodney Barnes is summoning that because he's written film and television. So I think he may just do those by instinct. But I don't know if he's doing it deliberately, because by habit, we want to put out the best work. And because of budget, B movies are not able to do that. So everybody wants it to be better, but they accept it for what it is. I don't know. That's it. I just wanted to throw that out. I think it's incredible. I think, I just came off the heels of talking about artwork and illustration quality not being what people would consider the best. Maybe that's what a B comic book might have. Illustrator that is developing, right? Maybe it has a writer that is developing, so maybe that's that. Maybe you tolerate mistakes or things that are not polished. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it be. But I don't know any illustrator that will want to have their work considered budget, or even a writer. I don't know. But I don't mind, because I would be doing it on purpose. And I know that sometimes even the most fundamental things take professional development. So I'm at 16 minutes. I want to say goodbye to you all. Thank you for riding in Sci-Fi and Express with me. Please like and subscribe. I want to go live one day, so I'm going to start pushing to get to 1,000 likes, so I can go live and have some guests on this and do a panel. Dad, the sun would just ruined me. All right, so like and subscribe, share, and then also correct my mistakes. Hit me with your opinion. Tell me what you think I should, on this subject, right? Tell me what you think on this subject. So like, subscribe, share, and comment. I'm out.